CNC2 is back, CNC3 is back.
This started after I left the London School of Furniture. I built guitars in my garage for a while, and 25 years later, there are now 10 of us building our own brand of unique guitars out of our workshop in Canterbury.
Hi there, I'm Alistair Atkin from Atkin Guitars. This is episode 14 of our workshop videos. Today we're going to see Greg doing some side bending. We're going to see Andy showing us a bit about how the fretboards are made on the CNC machine. Matt is going to show us the new electric guitar CNC machine, which has finally arrived back and seems to be working okay now. So enjoy the show. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Andy, I'm the new boy, and they've left me down here on my own, which is quite dangerous, I think. So anyway, I've been told I've got to talk you through the making of the fretboards. So the wood comes in to the shop as this, and then the first process that we do is we take it over and we thin it down. So I think we've seen the thinning machine before, but we'll just show you again. So we have the thinning machine, and we can set the heights. Like I said, you've probably all seen it before, but we'll take this down to 8mm, and that will smooth off both sides, give us a nice flat side for when it goes onto the CNC machine. But before it goes onto the CNC machine, we have to cut the holes in it, so I'll show you that now. So we have to put the locating holes in the board, and this is after it's been flattened. I won't do it now, but I'll show you a rough, so you get an idea of how it goes. So we've got our template, and we'll secure that to the bench. We're currently working on getting the CNC to do this, but we're just figuring out how to do it at the minute. But yeah, so simple drill bit, in through the locating holes, and then drill away to the required depth. And so this is one that we've done earlier. I don't know if you can see this for our central D. We've just got locating holes there, which we would have just drilled in that other one. And then we put a template on that again to size that, because we have a bound fretboards as well as the normal standard fretboards. So that will go on there. And then it's just as simple as cutting down to size. And then the next process is where it goes on the machine for profiling. Let's have a look at that. If you take a look in there, we've currently got one on the go now. So that's a large bit on there we've got, and that just nicely puts the profile on the board. And then after that process, we'll do the fret slots and the inlays, and I'll show you that in a minute. So that's done now on the profiling. So what we do now is we change the cutter over, we put a smaller cutter in, and we'll get the frets and the slots done. So this is our zeroing plate. So put the clip on, and then this goes under where the cutting piece comes down. And what this will do, this will come down, make contact with the plate. We'll do that twice. That's perfect. And what that does is that knows the zero plate for when it comes down on that axis. It'll take into account the depth of this zero plate, and that's all put in the programs that we do. Okay, so here's the computer that we have all the which controls the CNC machine. We have all our different programs on here for all our different inlay slots, frets, all the different length boards. So we are currently on an Essential OM, which is there, which is a 25/4 43mm at the nut. And we just load that up, fingers crossed, it works. In the workshop upstairs, and this is the final part of our process from the CNC. So this is what we've just seen now, with it cutting the frets in and the inlays. So it looks something like that. And of course we've got all our different styles as well. What's that? Yes, that's the black pearl bound. So it'll end up with the bound edge on it. That's on the OM37. It's diamond cut. As I said, that's the end of the process for us for fretboards really down there. That'll come up here where they'll caress it to perfection. But, yeah, hope you found that enjoyable. See you again soon.
Sorry?
CNC
3. Is this 3?
3.
All right, CNC 3. CNC 3 is back and it's working as far as we can tell. So, welcome to the beautiful world of CNC 3. We're just going to set her up for, we've got a new spindle, different from the last one. This is an Italian. So we're going to set up some jigs for the electric guitars. This is going to be for the neck. We've got a flat neck. This bad boy here in a minute. Hopefully that will be flat because it wasn't last time. And then we're going to have a jig so we can cut some bodies out. You're going to be there. It's going to be all beautifully arranged and dedicated, for now at least, to electric guitars. There it is. I wrote that tune, so I'll expect royalties.
I'm just going to focus a little bit on hand bending to begin with and show you what we do with the bending iron. We don't use this as much as we would for the bending formers upstairs. Usually if we've got some kind of custom wood bindings or something like that, we'll use it to put the shape into those. But it's quite good to illustrate the general principles of bending sides anyway. For this we've got a set, just kind of a scrap set of Indian rosewood here. It's kind of a combination really of when you're bending sides, the thickness of the sides, we take these down to 2mm, so you can generally feel when they're about right, as well as either moisture content of the wood, which is why we've got the spray bottle, as steam really helps the bend along. You don't always need water to assist in bending rosewood because it's a very resinous wood anyway. All the Dalbergers tend to be that way, and we don't actually use water when we're bending the sides on the formers upstairs, but it doesn't hurt to have a bit on there and it makes a nice sound when you bend it. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on here anyway. The iron is hot, so as you can see from that, essentially, yeah, I'm just going to kind of heat the wood up a little bit. The main thing is kind of keeping the side moving. What you're really doing to begin with is just essentially heating the wood through and getting those resins in the wood kind of plasticized, I guess. There's a kind of a plasticity and you can really feel when the wood starts to actually give. There's a real kind of elastic character that it takes on. This wood, I would say, is kind of safe to bend without using like what we call a bending strap, which is what I've got just there. Bending straps can be really handy if you're bending a figured wood, so a really figured maple or maybe koa. The figured woods tend to have a lot of grain run out, which basically means it's a weakness, or the wood is less kind of stable than on a piece like this. So it's good to have a bending strap to maybe support the edge of it. But as you can see from this, we've got a really nice bend already starting to come in there. So again, I'm not bending this to any particular shape. This is really just to illustrate the kind of the principles of bending a rosewood. But if you were bending it by hand, what you would generally do is you get your kind of your form here, which in this case is for an Atkin Jumbo, and you just kind of check it periodically against the shape of the waist in this case, and kind of eyeball it and just keep it moving along essentially, like that. Just got a bit of a curvature of the waist there, and then you'd flip it around the other way, bend it for the lower bow. Again, I'm not turning this into a guitar, this is purely to show the idea of bending wood, but you get the general idea as to how it works. As I say, rosewood containing so many oils anyway, what tends to happen is you'll heat those resins up, kind of really assist in the bending of the wood, and once it's taken its shape, you would generally kind of either clamp it in the mould, or if you're using the formers upstairs, it will stay in the former. Let it cool in there, and those resins then kind of re-solidify, and it's almost like a kind of a setting, helps it to set in that position. It really holds quite nicely. There's a slight difference for mahogany, which we're going to bend upstairs on the former in a second, in that they really don't contain any resins in the wood to any degree, so you do need a lot more moisture for that to get them bent. So head upstairs and do that if you like. We've got a set of mahogany here for a J43 model, and as I was saying, the mahogany, you really want to get a good spritzing of water on there before you put it in the bending machine, simply because the steam is going to penetrate through the wood, and it's really going to help help it around those bends when we're actually curving it to the shape of the form. So what I'm going to do is give this a little bit of a spritz. It's not loads, you're not looking to kind of soak it enormously, it's just literally enough to kind of wet the surface. We've got these little kind of protective material bits on here. This is just mostly to kind of stop any staining of the wood from the spring steel sights. Like that. And we've got little tabs on the sides which help us know exactly where to place the waist in the former, so everything's very well thought out. So we're literally just watching this. Once this hits around 300, we're good to go. Essentially, we'll start cranking the waist down. You'll know when we're getting ready because you can actually smell it. There's a certain smell to this mahogany when it's heating up. You'll also start seeing steam come off it, which is something else to look out for. So we're almost there. You can actually hear, I don't know if you get in close, you want to hear a little bit of sort of, yeah, we're good. So I'm just going to pull the thermocouple out. And we always start off with the waist. This is not a very extreme waist on these guitars, it's quite gentle curve. Some have a much tighter waist, particularly the jumbos. So it's, but either way, I mean this essentially locks the side in place. We've got the waist positioned correctly, so we're now ready to bend around the upper and lower bouts. We usually start with the lower one, and again it's just a case of you can feel it coming round when it wants to come. There's very little pressure I'm really applying to it, and it's just kind of supporting the bend all the way around. It's obviously a lot more straightforward with a bending former in a machine like this than it is hand bending. It's a lot faster as well. One of the other benefits is once you've bent it round, that's it. You just let go of it, and it's all good. Stays in place. Nice bit of steam coming up, and then we're just going to bend the upper bout, which is the remaining part of the guitar. As you can see, it's quite quick to go, which is very handy when you've got 10 of them to make per week. So 10 sets, obviously it's 20 sides. You should do that in a couple of days, but obviously the more bending machines you've got, the better, really. What I tend to do then is just leave the blanket on for another minute or so, just to really let it heat through in that shape. Then we'll switch it off, let it cool naturally, take it out when it's kind of touch cool, and we're ready to bend the next set of sides. There's a perfectly formed J43 side, so obviously you've got the other side here ready for bending in a short while. So from that to that, that's basically how we bend the sides.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to our channel. You can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. We've also got a TikTok account that we're trying to work out how to use. I think Mark's got a little bit of knowledge about that, so maybe you'll see some videos coming up on that soon. Thanks for watching. See you next time.